Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, actually. It's all about how our mindset shapes, well, pretty much everything we try to achieve.
hmm
And we're going to look at it through the lens of language learning, which is a really great example area for this.
Absolutely. And maybe to kick things off, let's think about Anna and
That's it.
Louise.
Okay.
So they both start learning English, same time, same resources, roughly. But after only, what, 3 months, Anna just felt totally sucked.
Right. Gave up.
Yeah, completely convinced herself she just wasn't, a language person.
We hear that a lot.
We do. But Luis, fast forward a bit, and he's actually giving TEDx talks in English.
Wow. Okay. That's quite a contrast.
It really is. So it makes you think, what was the real difference there?
Yeah, exactly. Was it like some hidden talent Anna didn't have, or did Louis just have way more time? A higher IQ, maybe?
Well, the sources we've been digging into strongly suggest it wasn't really any of those things.
So what was it?
It came down to their mindset, how they approached the whole challenge.
Ah, okay. This sounds like Carol Dweck's work, doesn't it?
Spot on. Her research really brought these ideas to the forefront, these two core mindsets. You've got the fixed mindset.
Which is basically believing your abilities are carved in stone. Like, you're either good at math or you're not. End of story.
Precisely. You've got what you've got, and that's it. But then there's the other side.
The growth mindset.
Exactly. And that's the belief that actually you can develop your abilities through, hard work, good strategies, input from others.
So it's not about having some magic talent from day one. It's about the process, about putting in the effort, learning from mistakes.
Right. Embracing challenges instead of shying away, seeing effort as, well, the path forward, learning from feedback, not feeling crushed by it, even getting inspired when others do well.
Okay, so that's the goal for us today then, to kind of unpack this and give you listening a sort of toolkit.
Yeah, basically. Taking inspiration from Lewis's path, how can we help you start shifting your own thinking? How can you build that growth mindset, especially for those times when things get tough in learning or really anything?
Makes sense. So let's dive into language learning specifically. What do these mindsets actually look like in practice? We found some really common fixed mindset traps.
Oh, yeah, like the classic, I bombed that one test.
So clearly, I'm just never going to get this.
Exactly. That feeling of finality. One setback defines everything.
So easy to fall into that. And another one.
The accent thing. Someone laughed when I tried to speak.
Oh, so forget it. I'm not opening my mouth again.
That fear of judgment just slams the door shut on practice, which is, the only way to actually improve.
Okay, so those are the traps. How does someone with a growth mindset flip the script on those? That first one, the failed test.
Well, instead of I'll never learn, it becomes something like, okay, that mistake actually made me realize the difference between she and he. Got it. Now I don't forget that.
Ah, so seeing the mistake as data, as a learning opportunity.
Exactly. It's feedback, not failure.
Mm.
And for the accent, worry. Instead of shutting down,
It might think.
they might think, hang on, every single native speaker started from 0 too. They all sounded awkward at some point.
Yeah.
It puts it in perspective. Fluency is a journey, not an overnight switch.
Right, it normalizes the struggle. Okay, this feels like a good point for everyone listening to maybe try something small.
Yeah.
Just take a second now. Think of something recently where you caught yourself thinking, I just can't do this. Could be anything.
Got one.
Okay. Now just mentally tack on one little word at the end. Yet.
Ah, the power of yet.
It's huge, isn't it? I can't understand native speakers. Becomes, I can't understand native speakers yet, or I can't get this pronunciation right yet.
It completely reframes it. It acknowledges where you are right now, sure, but it doesn't make it a permanent state. It implies this can change.
It opens the door again.
Absolutely. It implies future growth is possible.
And speaking of growth, we came across some really powerful stories of people overcoming what seemed like huge hurdles. Rita's story, for example.
Oh, Rita's fantastic. Get this. She failed English 3 times in school.
3 times. So, the fixed mindset interpretation would be clearly languages are not her thing.
Right. Game over. But then life happens. At 40, she needed English for her nursing career. Necessity kicked in.
And her approach was just so practical, so growth mindset driven, even if she didn't call it that.
Totally. The sources mentioned she carried Post-it notes around at work.
Yeah, labeled things like stethoscope, bandage, constantly linking the English word to the real object in her daily work. Talk about active learning.
Seriously. And she didn't just do that. She also recorded herself reading medical prescriptions out loud.
Wow.
Think about how targeted that is. Practicing the exact language she needed, getting comfortable with the sound of her own voice, saying those specific terms. That's deliberate practice right there.
Focused effort, getting feedback from hearing herself. It ticks all the growth mindset boxes.
It really does. And the result, after about 18 months of this kind of focused work,
She passed her OET exam, which is a tough professional English test for healthcare workers.
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just shows those early failures in school meant nothing when she adopted a different approach and mindset.
Such a great example. And actually, I have a bit of a personal story on this too, related to communication.
Oh, yeah. Do tell.
Well, for years, years, I absolutely hated making phone calls. Hated it.
Why is that?
My accent. I was so self-conscious, convinced people wouldn't understand me or would judge me. It created real anxiety.
I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
Definitely. But then, somewhere along the line, I had this shift. I started thinking, hang on a second, having an accent doesn't mean my English is bad. It actually means I speak more than one language.
The reframe.
Exactly. Suddenly, it wasn't this flaw I had to hide. It was like evidence of something extra I could do. Now, I honestly kind of like my accent. It's a part of me.
That's brilliant. Turning the perceived weakness into a strength, or at least into something neutral, even positive. It completely changes the feeling around it.
It really does.
And just imagine hearing Rita's progress. We're actually planning to include some audio clips later, showing her speaking early on, and then after her focused effort, you'll literally hear the transformation.
That will be powerful. Okay, so we've seen the difference mindset makes. We've heard these stories. How can listeners actively start cultivating this growth mindset for themselves? Let's talk practical techniques.
Right, let's get into the toolkit. Technique number 1 builds right off what you just mentioned, the yet reflex.
Okay.
It sounds almost too simple, but it works. The moment you catch that "I can't" thought.
You immediately add yet, mentally or even out loud.
Yep. So not, I'll never understand phrasal verbs. It becomes, I don't understand these phrasal verbs yet.
It just automatically introduces that possibility of future change.
Yeah.
It takes the sting out of the can't.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from a permanent lack to a temporary state. Okay, technique 2,
Let's hear it.
the 5-minute rule. This one's great for tackling procrastination or just feeling overwhelmed.
The idea being,
You just commit to doing the thing, studying, practicing, whatever it is, for only 5 minutes. That's it. Lower the barrier to entry.
okay, so you tell yourself, I'll just review flashcards for 5 minutes, or I'll just read one page in Spanish.
Precisely. And what often happens, surprisingly often, is that once you've overcome that initial inertia,
You keep going.
you often find yourself working for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe longer. The hardest part is just starting, and this tricks your brain into doing that.
Clever. I like that. Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3 is all about building momentum. Micro-win tracking.
Micro wins, like small victories.
Exactly. Actively noticing and acknowledging the tiny steps forward you're making. We even saw a great example in someone's journal entry from our research.
What was it?
It just said, April 3. Used, although, correctly in an email.
Ha! I love the star.
Me too. It seems so small, right? But recognizing that success, writing it down, giving yourself that little star, it reinforces that you are learning, you are progressing.
Even when it doesn't feel like a massive leap, it combats that feeling of being stuck.
Totally. It builds confidence and proves to yourself that the effort is paying off bit by bit.
So maybe a little action here for you listening.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe pause, or right after this, text a friend. Just say, my learning win today was fill in the blank with something small.
Yeah, do it. Sharing it makes it feel more concrete.
Definitely. Now, we've been focusing a lot on language learning because it's such a clear example, but this mindset stuff,
Yeah.
it applies way beyond that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
These principles are universal. Think about getting fit.
Okay.
Nobody expects to walk into a gym for the first time and walk out with a six-pack, do they?
Haha, no. If only.
Right. We accept it's a process. It takes consistent effort. You hit plateaus. You have good days and bad days. It's gradual progress. Why should loving a language or any complex skill be any different? Expecting instant fluency is like expecting instant abs.
That's a great analogy. And what about, say, in a Korea context?
Well, think about feedback. The sources we looked at suggest that people who see critical feedback not as a personal attack, but as useful information. Okay, how can I use this to get better?
Yeah.
They tend to be the ones who grow more and often advance further.
Because they have that growth mindset. They see it as an opportunity to develop, not as proof they're not good enough.
Exactly. It's about learning and adapting versus defending a fixed sense of ability.
So, maybe a little challenge for everyone this week.
Let's do it.
Pick one thing in your life, doesn't have to be language related, where you feel a bit stuck, where maybe that I can't voice pops up.
Mhm.
And just for this week, consciously practice adding yet whenever you notice that thought. Just observe. See if it shifts anything for you.
I love that. A small experiment. Okay, so we also know people often have recurring questions or concerns around this stuff, especially with languages.
Right, like the feeling that progress is just painfully slow. What's the mindset approach there?
That's where the micro-win tracking really comes in handy again. When you feel stalled, actively hunt for the tiny bits of progress. Did you understand a meme today you wouldn't have understood last month? Did you use a new word correctly?
Acknowledge those little steps.
Yes, because progress often isn't linear. It's little bursts and plateaus. Focusing on the small wins keeps you going through the slower phases.
Makes sense. And the fear about the accent, feeling embarrassed.
The reframe we talked about earlier is key here. Your accent isn't a sign of failure. It's proof you're brave enough to try. It shows you know more than one language. That's impressive, not embarrassing.
Changing how you view the accent itself.
Precisely. And then there's the age-old question. Can adults really learn languages as well as kids?
Yeah, you hear that a lot. My brain's not like a sponge anymore.
Well, the research is interesting here. While it's true, adults might learn differently than young children. We don't just absorb things unconsciously. In the same way, we also have advantages.
Like what?
We have better learning strategies. We can be more analytical. We understand grammar concepts abstractly. We have more self-discipline usually with the right methods and, crucially, the belief that we can learn.
Adults can actually learn very effectively, sometimes even faster in certain ways.
Exactly. It comes back to mindset and strategy, not just age.
Okay, this is all really valuable stuff. So to help people really put this into action, let's lay out that 7-day plan we mentioned.
Yeah, let's make it super concrete. So days 1 to 3.
Your main job is just awareness. Noticing those fixed mindset thoughts, the I can'ts, the I'm not good at's, just notice them, and when you do, consciously add yet.
Just build that yet reflex muscle, days 4 and 5.
Implement the 5-minute rule. Pick your area language, coding, playing guitar, whatever, and just commit to 5 minutes of practice on each of those days. See what happens.
Lower the bar, get started. Okay, and the last 2 days, 6 and 7.
Time to celebrate. Actively look for one micro win from your practice or your awareness and share it. Text a friend, tell your partner, post it somewhere if you like.
Acknowledge the progress, make it real.
Exactly. Reinforce that feeling of growth.
It's a great plan. And the key takeaway here really is that this isn't about needing a personality transplant or becoming someone totally different.
No, not at all. It's about shifting your perspective, adopting a new way of looking at challenges and your own abilities.
You don't need a new brain, you just need a new lens, a growth lens.
So go out there this week and actively look for proof. Find evidence that you are capable of more than you currently think. It's probably already there.
And maybe just one final thought to leave you with. As you go about your week, just ponder this. What potential, what hidden talents or skills might you be overlooking in yourself simply because you haven't yet faced the right challenge or adopted the belief that you can rise to meet it? What might you unlock if you just added yet?